There is an island near Venice that the locals refuse to speak of, a place where the air is thick with whispers of the dead. Poveglia Island, a land of despair, plague, and unspeakable suffering. But there is one legend that stands above the rest. A woman once human, now something far worse. A wailing spirit whose cries foretell death. This is her story. Her name was Isabella De Rossi. She was a healer, a kind soul who sought to help those who suffered from the plague. But in the eyes of the fearful, kindness can be mistaken for witchcraft. When the plague ravaged Venice in the 18th century, suspicion turned into hysteria. Accused of cursing the sick instead of curing them, Isabella was dragged to Poveglia, never to return. The island was not just a place of quarantine, it was a prison for the forsaken. Isabella was chained, beaten, and left in a tower where the dying screamed for salvation. No one heard her cries. No one cared. And as the rats feasted on the dead, Isabella's soul was torn between rage and sorrow. Then they came for her final punishment. She died that night, or so they believed. Thrown into a mass grave of plague victims, her body sank beneath layers of rotting flesh. But something changed within her. The betrayal, the suffering, the agony, it merged into something unnatural, something unholy. And when the full moon bathed Poveglia in pale light, she awoke, no longer human. It started as a whisper, then a low murmur, and then a scream so piercing it rattled the bones of the dead. The waters around Poveglia boiled and the sky turned black. Those who heard the wail that night were never seen again. A legend was born. A warning was set in stone. Do not step foot on Poveglia, for the Banshee of the Forgotten awaits. Centuries have passed, yet those brave or foolish enough to visit the island report the same chilling phenomenon. A woman's wail echoes through the ruins, growing louder until it becomes unbearable. Some see her in the mist, watching from the shadows. Others claim she whispers their names before they vanish into the darkness. Whether the legend is true or not, the island remains abandoned, its shores untouched by the living. Some say the screams are just the wind. Others never live long enough to say anything at all. If you ever find yourself near the cursed waters of Poveglia, remember this. If you hear the wail, it may already be too late. Perhaps some souls never find peace. Perhaps Isabella's suffering was too great for death to claim her. Or perhaps the Banshee of Poveglia still waits for the next soul foolish enough to listen to her cry.